KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM, the sports leader.
All right, welcome into a Saturday night extra inning postgame show with Bill Laskey. A tough game for the San Francisco Giants at Oracle Park, where they lose 2-1 to the New York Mets, and both runs were scored on walks. Robbie Ray was the guy that needed a good outing, and boy, he performed extremely well, especially when the first two innings, he threw 43 pitches. Got in a little trouble, but he worked out of it. The best inning was the fourth inning, where the bases were loaded, struck out Ventos. Then he got a ground ball from Alvarez to Chapman and threw over to Devers at first for a double play. Just a sensational inning to get out of it. But the sixth inning, he had 0-2 on Soto, ended up walking him, got a fly ball by Alonso, 2-2 count on Marte. Marte took two real close pitches and walked him. He ended up getting closer to it, and then, sure enough, Ventos beat him with a slider in that was up, hit it right down the left field line for a double, and that was all that Robbie Ray could do. He ends up going 5 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and the bullpen was stellar after that. Ryan Walker, Joey Lucchesi, Tyler Rogers, and Randy Rodriguez go 3 1/3 innings, only giving up 2 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts with no runs. But the Giants' offense could not come through once again. And the old runners in scoring position, they did it yesterday, 0 for 8. Today, once again, 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, all the way coming down to the ninth inning when Jung-Hoo Lee hit a ball off the bricks for a double, a strikeout by Yaz on his check swing, and a line drive by Bailey that Alonso caught off his right knee. Just a bullet to end the game. But you got to look at what the Mets have done here on the pitching side. Yesterday, you saw Clay Holmes go 5 innings, only giving up 1 earned run. Then after that, 4 innings by the bullpen that were shut out. Today, exactly the same. David Peterson, 6 innings, 1 earned run only, and the bullpen again, 3 innings shutout ball. So the last 2 games, the bullpen from the Mets, 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 10 strikeouts, no walks, and no runs. So this is what's troubling the Giants. They cannot come up with that key hit, the clutch hit. We've been talking about runners in scoring position on and on. It's been inconsistent all year, and today it bit them again. In 41-run games the Giants have been in, 40, they're 22-18 in those 40 games. When you're looking at teams that they've played 500 ball or better, the Giants have now lost 8 of 9 games with teams that are over 500. They are now 29-29 against those opponents. So they have to go together. They have to get going. Tomorrow will be a bullpen game. Some news coming out of Sacramento. Carson Whisenhunt was pulled from his start today, and most likely he will probably be pitching on Monday. The 24-year-old second-round prospect. He's the number 2 prospect for the San Francisco Giants. He is not on the 40-man roster, and they'll have to make a move. I am speculating there has been no move by the San Francisco Giants on this. Following the Sacramento Rivercats as I do. He was pulled from his start. He was supposed to start today, so they pulled him with no move yet announced. So I'm looking probably at Monday where he will get the start. My opinion, once again, a 24-year-old is 8-5 in Sacramento and 18 starts, a 4.42 earned run average, 97 2/3 innings he's pitched, 102 hits. And he's walked 28 and struck out 86. A 3-pitch mix for Carson Whisenhunt. The fastball in the mid-90s has some good high heat, really brings it. He's been working on a slider. That's been effective. Of course, the changeup is his number 1 pitch. So most likely we will probably see him on Monday. That is my opinion. No announcement has been made. So today, a tough game for the Giants. They've now lost 2 in a row on this homestand. They're now 28-22 at Oracle Park. And the New York Mets now have won 6 in a row. They won last Sunday against the Reds. They took 3 to the Angels, and they've come out here and taken the first 2 out of 3 of this series. So we'll look tomorrow, first pitch at 4:10. It's going to be an ESPN game. No pitcher has been announced for the San Francisco Giants. Kone Senga is pitching for the New York Mets. He's 7-3 with a 1.79 earned run average in 15 starts. He has been pitching dynamic for them. 80 2/3 innings, only 59 hits, 36 walks, 79 strikeouts, and he's only given up 5 home runs. In June, he's had a couple starts, .77 earned run average in just 2 starts. He only went 11 2/3 innings in that June, both those starts. But here in July, he's been pitching very well. He's gone 4 innings against the Angels, no decision. Kansas City, he went 3 innings. Both those games, 4 hits each and 4 earned runs. So tomorrow will be another challenge for the San Francisco Giants with a right-hander. Kodai Senga is his name. Of course, he's from Japan. 7-3 with a 1.79 earned run average. The Giants are going to say it's a bullpen game, so most likely I'm looking at Carson Seymour that could probably get the bulk innings coming out. Of course, he was called up, and he has been pitching out of Sacramento, out of the starting rotation. He had 15 starts. And as a matter of fact, I have Carson Seymour on tonight as one of my interviews. I got to talk to him yesterday. We'll get a little knowledge about Carson Seymour and his road to the big leagues. Also, Ed Lynch, I got to talk to him. Of course, he was pitching with the New York Mets when they won the 1986 World Series. He went on to be a general manager for the Chicago Cubs and a professional scout for 17 years. 415-808-KNBR. If you want to get on the phone lines, let's talk about this team. Where are they going? 54-51, still in the hunt for the wild card position. More pressure on Buster Posey as well as Bob Melvin to try to find starting pitching. And the offense once again go dismal with 0-8 with runners in scoring position. My name's Bill Laskey. This is the Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Giants have 9 hits in the game, none of them for the runner at second or third. There's a runner at second now. The pitch. Line drive, caught at first by the leaping Pete Alonso to win the game. Man, the Giants had a couple of shots in this inning, and both were caught.
All right, back on the Extra Inning postgame show with Bill Laskey on a Saturday evening. Giants had opportunities in this game. They only had 1, 2, 3 innings, and 3 out of the 9 innings. The other 6 innings, they had runners on base, and a couple times first and second with 2 outs. They just could not push a run across. They only had 1 run in the 4th inning. Willie Adames got a base hit. Chapman also got a base hit. A walk by Casey Schmidt, and a fielder, Jung-Hoo Lee, hit a ground ball, fielder's choice the second. They went to Lindor at short, and the run scored. But that was it. They could not come up with any key hits as they, again, went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. 2 games in a row they did that. Yesterday they had 1 run on 9 hits. Today, once again, yesterday 1 run, 9, and today they also had 1 run on 9 hits. 2 games back-to-back. But nothing in the run column to try to get a win. Again, I say this about Robbie Ray. He really gutted out this game. He threw 102 pitches, 63 for strikes. And when you look at what he did in the first couple of innings, he got in trouble, 43 pitches, 25 for strikes. And then after that, 9, 17, 14, 19. And, of course, the last inning, when he went in the 6th inning, he had a couple walks, and ended up with both of those walks being the runs that ended up getting him the loss. So Robbie Ray goes 9 and 5. He's still got an earned run average under a 3, 2.93. A good outing once again for Robbie Ray. And he's been seeing this more and more, and we've watched a lot of his starts. Of course, 2 of his losses were 1-0. Today, a 2-1 loss. This is a tough win-loss record for Robbie Ray. All right, 415-808-KNBR. I got a few calls coming in. Let's go up to Bend, Oregon, and talk to Steve. Steve, you're on the Extra Inning postgame show on a Saturday. A tough 1-run loss for the Giants.
Boy, and Jung-Hoo Lee got oracled, I tell you. And
Well,
when he hit it, and it caromed, I thought, here we go, baby, inside the park. But Soto played that carom like he's the one patrolling out there all year.
Good call. That's a good call, Steve, because he ran right over to Triple's alley, and that's where he caught the one hopper. The center fielder wasn't even close, but they're mostly playing. If you know this, Steve, they're mostly playing to right center field. They're giving the lineup more, the right field line, and taking away the gap.
Yeah. But you also noticed that now I'm going to get into an area here where a lot of the fans are probably going to mention this about Devers and his defense. Mixed bag. I mean, he made a nice play. He made a nice scoop to complete that double play to end the inning. But can the Giants afford to have him learn the position while they're
that was a tough game for him. He looked lost a couple times, especially that ball that was just nicked where Robbie Ray was coming to get it, and he went in, went back, and then Robbie kind of flipped it to him, and he just kind of flung his glove to it. He's lucky that ball didn't fly out of his glove because he swung at it, and he caught it. He kept it in there. And that was one of the things, Steve, that maybe you and I both can talk about. His glove, I don't know if he's used to using a first baseman's glove because it's so large.
No.
And he's not comfortable with it.
He can't get the ball out. Yeah, he couldn't get the ball out. But let me ask you, why? I mean, Dum Smith, I would rather have him at first base. I mean, a bad infielder has more of a long-term damage to a game than a good light-hitting infielder. The pitch count goes up. It's stressful. I don't understand why Dom Smith isn't out there. Sit Devers as a DH and alternate with him and Flo. I don't know. I don't know why he's even out there playing the position unless he's demanding it.
Base. Steve, I just think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get him out there. He came out in public, and one of the reporters, he said, I'd rather be playing in the field than just worrying in my bat after a bat. Striking out again a couple times tonight, and, the one strikeout with a runner on second base, it was just, or first base, and swung right through it. Hit a nice base hit first time up to left field. I'd love to see him do that more, but he seems like he's trying to pull the ball a little bit.
You know, he got so bad at first base that Tyler Rogers he was throwing fastballs to left-handed hitters. He didn't want to throw changeups to have him get out in front and hit a grounder to Devers. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't notice that. He usually stays away on he stays away on a lot of right-handers. You know, giving up a double leading off that inning. He pitched out of it. He's been such a good bullpen arm. And I've been reading where his name's been out there to be traded because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. That's a name that the Giants have posted up there. And here's a guy that's been out there every year and pretty much 70 appearances every year. He's been stellar for him. Again today, 1.4 earned run average. You look at him and Randy Rodriguez, a .82. Joey Lucchese's been really throwing the ball real well out of the bullpen.
I don't know why Lucchese isn't the starter. I mean, just to fill in, I'm surprised they're going to bullpen opens, and I know Wisenhunt was pulled. We don't know if he's up or not. But
I mentioned that on my open. They scratched him today. Yeah, I think what he'll probably start on Monday. Tomorrow's a bullpen game. Matt Gage, they just announced he'll start. I don't know if you call it an opener, if you just call it a bullpen game. That's kind of what they're talking about. It's a bullpen game. I was kind of surprised I didn't see Carson Seymour starting that game. He had 15 starts in AAA. Maybe they're just going to have him as bulk innings after Gage and find out what happens in this game. But they got Jelly up. Tristan Beck can also throw. They got a lot of arms in the bullpen. But I really believe with Carson Wisenhunt getting pulled, I think we'll probably see him Monday.
Probably so. My last point, too, is the Giants are again in that weird gray area where are they good enough to buy or are they just bad enough to sell, right, if this keeps up. So, but I'm thinking if they are going to sell, I would think about this, Duvall, Flo, and Yaz. Insert Rodriguez as your closer and go out and find a AAA prospect as your starter. What do you think on that?
Yeah, the one thing, Steve, when I always talk about trades and I talk about players in trades and people always throw Yaz in there, throw this guy. And my answer always is how do you know somebody wants them? Because if they're not doing well here, why would somebody say, hey, I want Yaz? He was 1 for 19. I'm just throwing the numbers out. Why would somebody want him in a deal? So it's got to be something that works both ways, and I think you're going to have to give up a prospect or two if you're going to try to pull something off. There are some starting pitchers that are going to be free agents at the end of the year, so it's kind of a rental starter. But I really think the Giants need a starting pitcher. A couple of reports came out today. They're looking for a middle infielder, maybe a second baseman, maybe somebody that can fill a utility role. Casey Schmidt is hitting, but he hasn't been hitting well since the All-Star break. And maybe they're seeing something that we don't see in him pulling off again. But again, these are just a couple things that have been thrown out there and a lot of different, things I look at, trade rumors and proposals and a lot of the beat writers from different areas talking. And the Giants' name's been in a few of them, but we'll find out. And we're going to find out if they can rally tomorrow and win one of these games against the Mets.
That's why they're paying Buster the big bucks. Hey, Bill, thanks again, man. Great show as always.
All right, Steve, thanks for your time. Let's go to San Jose and talk to my buddy, the Bar Fighter. Bar Fighter, are you good tonight?
Still a proud and long-standing member of the Lunatic Fringe. Thank you.
That's all I need to know. Then I know the Bar Fighter is ready to roll. He's ready to roll tonight. Talk to me, Bar Fighter. What do you think about this Giants team, 54 and 51?
Hey, prime time, man. This is a long-term contract ride, cabbie ride to mediocrity. I mean, and, the Buster, I mean, I had some hope for him, but okay. So
you haven't given up on him yet, Bar Fighter. Bar Fighter, don't let me say. I'm not going to listen to that tonight, Bar Fighter. Buster's doing a good job. We just got to give him a little rope here. Give him some rope.
Okay, let me give you a report card on the Buster. And I love the Buster when he was a catcher, man. And one thing about the Giants, those World Series teams, is they had interchangeable parts where there was like a prime mover. There was a heavy lifter that could be interchanged from one game to the next. But
don't forget,
I'm going to give
Bar
you a
Fighter.
report
That's
card.
11 years ago, Bar Fighter. That was 10, 12, and 14, okay? It's 2025. Things have changed in the world of baseball.
Let me give you a report card. Okay, Chapman, no bueno. Long-term contract, okay? Adames, no bueno, long-term contract.
Oh, man, I don't want to hang up on you, Bar Fighter. I'm not going to listen to this. You're wrong in both of them. You're 0 for 2. Give me another one before I hang up on you.
So, yeah, and this is going to go to all the empty-headed interchangeable KNBR hosts, is that the Giants need to not fire Pat Burrell or fire Bob Melvin. They need better scouting. They need to scout young players, and they got to – at least one thing about Barfan, my inner psyche, he got rid of his disaster of Soler. But these long-term contracts are going to hang up the Giants.
Barfighter,
for
give me
a
one.
long
Let me
time.
throw something to it. Barfighter, let me throw something. Did you see what the Giants just did in the draft? They signed almost 20 guys. 17 rounds they signed. Every one of them signed. They have a cluster of good players they just signed, and that's encouraging in my mind.
What about all of these long-term contracts that are stuck with that they're never going to get rid of?
Like who? Chapman? Who else?
Chapman
Adames?
is usable. Chapman is
Webb?
usable. Adames is usable. Devers,
They're all going to be fine.
That was.
Oh, Barfighter, you're crawling the wrong way here, buddy, and you got to give me some positive love here tonight, buddy, and you're bringing me down.
No, and I don't mean to bring you down, but these long-term contracts are going to be an overhang for a long time. They're not going to be able to get rid of these guys. I mean, nobody's going to want
players.
them with these.
Barfighter, they're above-average players. They're building a good, solid team. The foundation is built. Let Buster build it. Just let him build it. Don't tear it down so fast, Barfighter. And you know what? You're a positive guy, but tonight, I don't know, man. You're not that positive guy I know.
Yeah, I generally am positive, and I'm hoping that these draft picks are going to be a positive thing to build on, a positive foundation. But
we'll find out. They're still 3 games over 500. They're still in the hunt in a wild card. Starting pitching as a whole right now. Let's see if the Buster goes out and get a starting pitcher, maybe another bat, and we'll find out what happens. So it's a tough night tonight after they lose 2-1. They lost 8-1. They had a couple great games in Atlanta, Barfighter. So I'm going to leave you with this, Barfighter. Be positive, like I know you are, and it's going to turn around. But have a great night. I appreciate it. Let's go to San Rafael and talk to Adam. Adam, you're on with Bill Laskey on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. A tough 2 losses to the New York Mets.
It's very tough, Bill. The mosaic is 3 games over 500, and 500 has been the mosaic for us all year, the one we wanted to avoid. But when we got Justin Verlander and we had Wade at first base and no Pete Alonso, the mosaic was always going to be very, very 500-ish for us. And are now
why do you say? Let me ask you this, Adam. Let me ask you this. Why are you saying the mosaic? What I'm not understanding that.
Oh, that was just a tribute to Marty Lurie because he would always talk about the mosaic.
Well, I'm not understanding what you're saying there when you're saying our mosaic was 500 and the mosaic was this. I'm not understanding those terms. So if you can kind of change that and tell me what your thoughts are, that would be easier for me to understand.
Oh, okay. Well, our holes at first base with Wade and Bailey, that was the kiss of death, and Verlander. So we were always going to be a 500 team. The roster was flawed from the beginning, and Devers and Adames and Chapman are old. Those are long contracts we are always going to be stuck with, and we should fire Buster Posey. That's what I think. Fire Buster
All right,
Posey.
Adam. You know what, Adam? All you're doing is throwing negatives. I'm done with the negatives tonight, Adam. I appreciate your call. Let's go to Humboldt and talk to Lauren. Lauren, you're on the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. A tough game tonight. A great opportunity for Robbie Ray. They just couldn't muster enough runs for him.
Oh, yeah, it was a frustrating game tonight. I mean, I'm not even really blaming it on the players so much as luck. Like Bailey on that last play, I mean, he smashed that ball. I mean,
He did.
There was a couple of those that they just grabbed balls that it's.
Well, I thought Jung-Hoo Lee swung the bat very well tonight. You know, he ended up going 3 for 4 tonight, and that ball he hit to right center field was smoked on top of the brick and bounced extremely off the wall. He was going to ready to go for 3, but it was a nice play by Soto to cut that ball off.
Yeah, it seems like Jung-Hoo Lee's been made some kind of an adjustment, and he seems like he's starting to warm up, and it's really nice to see that.
I'd like to see him do what he's doing, go to the opposite way, go to the left field a little bit more.
I think that's a good idea for almost all of them, but certainly for Jung-Hoo, because it seemed like they were pitching him outside a lot more.
I'm just going to go the opposite way. I think they're throwing him inside more. You know, when I'm watching the swing pass, he's getting a lot of balls in on his hands. If he can see that ball away, he can go away. You saw Devers do it in the first inning going to left field and he hit that base hit. I would love to see left-hand hitters do that more. Back in my day, you had so many hitters wait for the ball to come in the strike zone, and they did go through the opposite way. Tony Gwynn, 5.5 hole, he wore that out all the time.
That was definitely a beautiful placement on Devers' hit tonight. One of the reasons I called, you touched on it earlier, I've looked at Carson Seymour's stats in the minor leagues, and I've looked at his inning pitched, his workload this year, and from what I've seen, it looks like, you know, he's developed as a starting pitcher. He's held up. He looks like he could probably handle the innings workload for handling, you know, a rotation spot for the rest of the year for a birdsong spot possibly, or at least while the injured group is until the group is back.
Yeah, I just think what they're going to do tomorrow, Matt Gage is going to start. Matt Gage is going to start tomorrow, and most likely you're going to see Carson Seymour come in and get some bulk innings. I think they feel that he's better coming out of the bullpen, maybe a little more relaxed. He's still a rookie. I said it earlier in the open, they pull Carson Wisenhunt from the start today, and a couple announcements coming out. They think that Carson will probably start on Monday against the Pirates because they need a pitcher for Monday. Tomorrow is going to be a bullpen game.
It'd be fun to see Carson Wisenhunt too. I'm not going to lie. So, you know, I'm not going to cry about it.
It's going to be interesting. They just need to come together and get some key hits here. I think fans are getting tired of the 0 for 8s, 0 for 9s with runners in scoring position, getting so many players on the bag and getting opportunities, and they just can't get that clutch hit. That's been the inconsistencies of the offense this year.
Yeah, this last 2 days in a row of the offense simply stalling out on one run is still very frustrating. It's hard to win when you only score one run.
Well, especially when you go into Atlanta and you play 3 games, you score 23 runs, 32 hits, and all of a sudden you come home. Now you have to look at what the Mets pitchers are doing. I was saying this earlier, the bullpen for the Mets in 2 games, 7 innings, no runs, only giving up 4 hits, 10 strikeouts. So they have been putting zeros on the board, and this bullpen for the Mets have been very good in the last 2 games.
Well, yeah, they definitely deserve credit for what they've done. They're earning their paychecks, but our hitters have to do the same. You know, they have to step it up a bit.
I agree.
I mean, the clutch hit is what it's about. What's our running? It's, you know, with runners in scoring position, our bats have been just not productive.
That's the money RBI, right, Lauren? That's what they used to say in my day when we played. The money RBI was that runner in scoring position to get that clutch hit. That was the money. That was the money hit.
Yeah, the money lies in the RBIs, as Jeff Kent used to say.
There you go. I love that one. I'll leave you with that, Lauren. Thanks for the call tonight. Good stuff. We're going to take a quick break on the Extra Inning post-game show with Bill Laskey. I got a few calls on hold. Carson Seymour, Ed Lynch, couple interviews down the road in the show. So we'll take a quick break. 415-808 KNBR if you want to get on the phone lines. Got a few lines open. Love talking Giants baseball with you. My name's Bill Laskey. More coming up right here on the Sports Leader.
listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
You know what? I'm glad he got a bunch of balls today. I mean, the more he gets like that, and the more in between plays and plays where he's got to, make a decision whether he's covering first or going to get the ball, all those things are going to be good for him at the end of the day. So, I mean, I know a couple didn't look great, but again, it didn't cost us, and I think the more experience is good over there, the better he's going to look. So, I really did like the fact that he got a bunch of different plays tonight.
All right, back on the Extra Inning post-game show with Bill Laskey, Bob Melvin talking about Rafael Devers playing first base. And you always say when you come to a new position, the ball finds you. And today, the ball found Rafael Devers in a lot of different things, from little balls in front of him, going in, going out, not knowing when to cover, a ball down the line in which he caught and tried to tag the runner, another ball down the line. Later in the game, he caught it, dropped it. The best one was when he caught the ball at first base. He dropped it and kicked it to first, picked up the ball and touched first base. But nothing was hurt in the way of what he did at first base. Like Bob Melvin said, the more he gets, repetition is so key. And it looks like the Giants are really going to try to make him into a first baseman. I said it earlier to one of my callers. I think that glove is something he's going to get adjusted to. He was a third baseman most of his career. And most of the time, infielders have smaller gloves. A first baseman's glove is huge, and he's got to get used to it. He's got to get used to the play with the glove and how he gets his hand into the glove to throw the ball. A game that you could probably say it tested him in different ways, and I thought the test went positive. I really did. Some plays you just kind of shook your head and go, man, there's, you got better out there for first base. But this is what the Giants are trying to get him to do, is play first base, and this is what they're going to keep throwing out there. So Rafael Devers did a good enough job today. We might see him out there again tomorrow. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to San Jose and talk to Dennis. Dennis, you're on a late-night extra inning post-game show. A tough 2 games, but the Giants are struggling on the offensive side.
Yeah, Bill, listen. We play Atlanta, and we get 10 runs one game, 10 runs another game. We go to New York. We get New York in, and we can't even get a run. Okay, we get 1 run each game. That bothers me. This team can hit. Why don't they hit? The thing is, their team batting average, I think it was maybe about 235, 240. These guys can hit. I don't know if so low, but you can hit better. The time is hitting. They had guys on base and then drive them in. And, that's the thing. The key hit. You said yourself a money
Well,
back.
you're right, Dennis. You're right in a couple ways here, Dennis. You're definitely right. They did score. They scored 9 runs in the last 2 games in Atlanta. They ended up scoring 23 runs. The last 2 games, both games, they've only scored 1 run. They've got 9 hits in both of them, and it just seems the runners in scoring position are the same, 0 for 8 in both games. The clutch hit, Dennis, you call into the show a lot. The clutch hit just is inconsistent right now. Will it change? We saw it in Atlanta change. It's just sometimes the Mets pitchers are throwing the ball pretty well. Some of these guys got high velocity. Some have good breaking balls, change-ups. Today, some of the balls were hit right on the wood, solid, over 100 miles an hour, right at the Mets defenders. The last play of the game, Patrick Bailey just smoked that ball to Alonso, and he picked it. Now, to his left, to his right, it would have been a tie game. So things have to change. You're absolutely right. They have to get better with runners in scoring position. But again, Dennis, they're not out there striking out 10, 12, 14 times. They are putting the ball in play. They only struck out 7 times today. 9 hits. They had more hits than the Mets. It just couldn't get the runs across.
And there's something else, Bill. Posey, he's great, man. We don't know who to trade him. I think the guy's crazy should get rid of Posey. He's a good general manager. He's doing good. He's trying to get the team to win now. And he's doing a good job. I have no problem with him. It's just we got to get him going.
I agree. I think, his first year in, he's trying to make this team better. He's making baseball out of this team. He's dwelling into making baseball players the way baseball was played back in the day when he won 3 World Series. It's difficult to turn the switch on and off per day, but what he's doing is he's making this team believe in themselves. They're only 3 games over 500. They're still in the hunt for the wild card. A couple pitchers in the rotation are down, so we'll see what happens in the trade market if he goes out and gets a couple players, but this team's going to fight. Dennis, you know that. You're a Giants fan. You've been a Giants fan for many years. So believe in what he does and believe what this team can do. All right, Dennis, I appreciate your call, man. Let's go to Brian in Modesto. Brian, you're on with Bill Laskey on a late-night extra-inning post-game show. Tough couple losses. I keep repeating myself, but today Robbie Ray did his job.
Well, Bill, I have to admit, I'm tired of being snake bit as far as atom balls. You know, I mean, too many atom balls, that's just bad luck. But I have to admit, tonight
You're right.
was a hard-nosed baseball.
Tonight especially. Tonight, Brian, there was some ropes off their bats.
And tonight was a hard-nosed baseball. I mean, the Giants played hard today. I mean, there's no question about it. I have to admit that when Devers kicked the ball and went right to first, I busted out laughing there a little bit. Only because the out was made. Only because the out was made. So it's becoming clear that Buster, as the president, has made this team more competitive.
Mm-hmm.
He's made this team a little. I mean, things aren't going our way right now, but he's made this team a little more hard-nosed. You know,
they're not analytic driven. I think that's the big thing that we saw in the last 6-7 years under Farhan Zaidi and Gabe Kapler. The analytics was running the game where now you're seeing players play, pinch hitters come up, defenders play a little better. But I really believe that the Giants are going to get Rafael Devers more chances at first base. And you heard it on the little post-game hit we threw out there on one of our breaks. He said, you know what, he played hard. The ball found him. We're extremely happy the way he played. And I'm seeing him going out there every day now, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, my question about Yaz, do you think his time has run out in San Francisco? Because right now he's not contributing anything at the plate.
Who's that? Mike
Yastrzemski.
Oh, yeah, he's in a rut right now. He is scuffling. His numbers are not that good. He was 3 for 19 coming into tonight's game. He pinch hit the check swing. He definitely went across it. You know, Brian, you and I have talked about this many times. The breaking ball down in the zone and the elevated fastball, and you see these pitchers coming in there doing it all the time to him.
I mean, what value can the Giants get for him at possibly at the trade deadline? I mean, he's not going to be DFA'd. He's much too much of a veteran to be DFA'd. I mean, what can we get? Yeah,
he's a leader in the clubhouse. I mean, he's a streaky hitter. Brian, many times I've been talking about this on this show. He's a streaky hitter. When he gets hot, he'll go 2 for 4, 3 for 5. Lately, he just has not made good contact, and a lot of rollovers, a lot of sinkers away where he bounces back to the pitcher. Things that we could say where Yaz goes the opposite way, he's a lot better of a hitter, but he seems like he's pulling and he's flying. A lot of fly balls again on him.
Well, I still can't believe we have to give Buster the rope, as you said, because I can't believe what I just heard a few minutes ago, that he drafted 20 players.
17 players signed.
17 players
already.
signed.
The first 17 picks in the draft, they've all signed, and that's pretty damn good.
That's pretty good. So we have to give Buster the patience, even if it takes a couple of years to make the championship series or the World Series or whatever. It might take a little bit more than that. But personally, I will be happy if they played their butts off like they did tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a real baseball game. And tomorrow we're going to, if Brian Wilson at the end of 2010 said, well, we lost a tough baseball game, we're going to wake up tomorrow and we're going to play another baseball game.
Yep, I totally agree with you. And I think that's what's going to go tomorrow. The bullpen's going to be in there most of the game and see what they can do. The bullpen's been pitching so well today and yesterday, except for Duvall's inning. They've been lights out. And, when Tyler Rogers gives up a double and he strands him at third, that's some damn good pitching right there. And he's been doing that all year consistently. Randy Rodriguez coming in or punching the side out. Those are all electric arms. Even though one comes from underneath and the other one comes over the top, consistency out of the bullpen's been there all year.
Right, but it's very clear, Giants fans, if you're listening to me, something's brewing. It's starting to bubble up. The winning attitude is starting to bubble up.
I think Buster, Brian, I think you and I both know there's going to be some additions to this team. Buster's not just going to let this team falter like this. They're 3 games over 500. They still got to hunt for the wild card, and all they got to do is start getting winning. And we saw it in June when they won 7 out of 9. The 2 games in Atlanta just woke me up with the offense because we were saying, man, this is the team we've been watching. This is the team that can hit. And you scored 23 runs in 3 games, 32 hits. They had 9 home runs on the road trip. These first 2 games, man, it's just been tough with runners in scoring position. The inconsistency we keep talking about. They got to come up with a clutch hit sooner or later.
If you remember, guys, on your team in 1982, 31-20 in the last 51 games.
That's right, Brian. Won 10 in a row. You remember that one. All right, Brian, thanks for the call. Yep, thanks for the call, Brian. Let's go to Matt in San Jose. Matt, you're on Extra Inning Post-Game Show with Bill Laskey. What's going on, my friend?
Bill, it's a pleasure. Long-time listener. I'm actually in the car coming back home from the game. We were at that. I'm with my 6-year-old, but he fell asleep. He wanted to say hi, but
well, tell him I said hello when he wakes up when he goes home, all right?
I will for sure. He'll be excited because we love listening. I just wanted to throw some positivity, man. I had the privilege of being with my dad when they unveiled that Wall of Fame at the new ballpark. And at the time, a very young Madison Bumgarner and Buster Posey were the pitching battery. They had their buzz cut hairdos, and they were playing. I think they were playing Double-A in San Jose at the time, but they were
they were single A in San Jose Giants. And you know what? I have that picture. I have that picture, right, Matt, where they were coming down the right field line. I still have that picture with me, and they both had. It seemed like crew cuts back then, right?
Yeah.
And they both looked so young. They look so young, and the next thing you know, they're winning World Series for us.
It was wild. And I remember my dad paid it. You know, he knew who they were, and so he's like, hey, he told me who they were, and I was like, okay. And then sure enough, now my kid's over there looking at Lego down in the bullpen boardwalk.
Yeah.
He's looking at Lego versions of Mad Bum pitching to him. It's just amazing. It's really cool.
But Matt, you know what? The years sure flew by, haven't they, Matt? The years in baseball and how many players that came up through San Jose, through Richmond, through Sacramento. I mean, they've just gone through, and here they are in the big leagues producing 3 World Series championships. And here you got Buster Posey, president of baseball operation. Where'd all the years go, Matt? It sure flew by.
And they fly by, and that's kind of why I wanted to put that out there to Giants fans. Buster Posey has epitomized baseball his entire career. And if we can just put some trust, like you said, give him some rope, and just he knows what kind of culture it took. Nobody saw 2010, 12, the even-year champs, that whole time. Nobody saw that coming. But they built something. And in the years when we didn't see it, then once it started to fruit, like these are the same kind of people that plant an avocado tree and then they want avocados in 2 months. It doesn't work like that. That's
correct.
That's not how.
But you know the other thing, Matt, you gotta look at what he's done. You gotta see what he wants to do. In the beginning of the year, I always say, here's a puzzle with all the different pieces. And as your year goes on, you start putting the pieces together. And, maybe by All-Star break, you got part of that puzzle made. But now you got to add some pieces to it. And I think that's what we're going to see here in the next week. Buster's not going to sit like this. He's got some thoughts on it. Their scouting directors have been all over the place. You see their names in a lot of possible trade rumors. They're rumors. We don't know if they're true or not. But you know what? The interest is there, and I think that's the key that we want to hear.
I think so, too. He's got people. That's what was our problem. We had a problem getting people to sign here, and Buster's got people wanting to come play here. 17 out of 20 signed already. People don't want to go anywhere. They want to be here.
And it might be 20 out of 20 now. I mean, they signed the first 17 guys, and to me, that is just a big plus when you're talking about all the scouting directors and you go through a draft And boom, they're all down in Papago right now. They're down in rookie ball. They're going to be playing there. I watched a couple videos today. The first rounder was taking swings. He was playing infield. There was like 6 or 7 guys, and they're all signed, and now they're all in Arizona. And here's their first start. This is the foundation of a new draft.
Yep. They know what it's. I think now that Buster, they realize what's happening, and like the last caller to piggyback, something's brewing. And if we're give him, this is the first year, and look what he's done. He's locked down the hot corner with long-term contracts. The Devers move. I mean, just wait till that guy. He wants to be in the field. Now he's going to feel good playing both sides of the ball. He's going to feel like himself again once that back is healed up and he gets more comfortable at first. We already see him hit.
I agree with you, Matt. I think that's what he wants to do. He wants to be a fielder. He was a third baseman most of his career with Boston. I just think he's got to get used to the big glove at first base. You kind of see him playing with it around between pitches, something that he's got to get used to, a bigger glove, as well as his feet moving around the bag. Those are different things that you can't just go on an infield and catch ground balls. You have to be in game when the balls are coming all different ways. And, of course, Chapman with his cannon of an arm, he's got to be prepared. He's got to be prepared for some of the bullets these guys are going to throw at him.
Right, and it's a different side of the field. Like, yeah, okay, he played, but it's a different side of the field. The mechanics are different. Your responsibilities are different over there, and
the ball's coming at you differently too. The ball's coming off the bats totally differently, and you know the other thing too we don't really talk about, Matt, is how far he can go to the right, how far can he go to the left. Those are two different things that he has to adjust to, and the throw back to the pitcher covering first. There's a lot of things going through his head as a first baseman, and these are things that Bob Melvin said today in his post-game show. He was very happy the ball was hit at him today. He was so happy about all the different opportunities he had. He made one error, but all the other things, I think he did okay. But I appreciate your call, Matt. Make sure tell your son I said hello when you get home. I appreciate your call today coming from the game. Let's go up to Portland and talk to Greg. Greg, you're on Extra Innings on a Saturday night. A tough game again. I keep saying it, but boy, I wish the Giants could have pulled this one out.
Well, we all hoped, certainly you and me both. Bill, you've handled the calls good tonight. I've been listening, and I can't remember this much kind of emotional, thoughtless negativism from Giants fans.
Greg, really, I take them. I listen to them. I'm polite to them. But you know what? At a point, I'm not gonna listen to it. And a couple of them came at me in all different ways. I even tried Barfighter to change his approach. He didn't want to. He calls a lot to the show. If this is the negativity that you want to throw at me, then you know what? It's going to be next caller, because that's not fair to me. That's not fair to the team that's fighting. And we're watching the same game. We know there's ups and downs, Greg. You and I talk about ups and downs of every game. But tomorrow's a new day, so we'll see what tomorrow brings.
That's right. That's why we love sport. Hey, so, okay. Anyway, we covered that. I'm not Debbie Downer, but I have a specific question or two for you. What do you think? You're knowledgeable analyst, played the game. What do you think of Matos' play in right field? I thought it was
tough tonight.
Tough. Lacking.
That's all I
tonight.
can tell you. There was a couple plays where he bobbled that ball down the right field line. It could, the ball that he picked up, looked up again. The other ball that came off the wall when the ball carried. A tough night for Matos in right field. I really believe he didn't play some of those balls well.
Okay, well, you and I saw the same thing, and we agree. I don't have confidence in him as a outfielder, let alone a right fielder. He can hit. He's a hitter. But unless, this is my opinion, but I'm halfway knowledgeable. Unless they make a commitment, and this young man's been up for 3 years now. unless they really make a commitment to teaching him how to play better defense, to play truly, to be an outfielder, not a DH.
He's got a great arm.
Guy.
He does have a good arm, no question there.
Well, there are a lot of guys like that. They're great athletes. They can chuck the ball, but they just can't learn how to play in the outfield. And then there are lots
let me
of
ask you
guys
this, Greg.
that are good
Let me
hitters.
just ask you this, Greg, since we're talking about Matos. Sometimes when he catches fly balls, it bothers me when he catches it off his shoulder or to his left. It just bothers me where he's not under the ball.
Me too.
You know what I'm talking about, right? He just kind of flings his glove out there and kind of catches it off his hip. I just say to myself, man, you better never miss a ball and come into that dugout with Matt Williams and Bob Melvin. Man, you better catch everything like that.
Okay, and then conversely, and this is one of the Giants' problems. You got one of the best right fielders in the game, in the whole game, not just the National League, in Yaz, but he doesn't. He's in a terrible slump now. He has been in slumps before, and what do? And see, I tend to favor the guy that can play outfield, play defense. And boy, he can do it. But
if Yaz could just get hot and stay hot, if he could hit 270, 280, he would be a premier outfielder. And you're telling me exactly what I know, how well he plays the outfield. That ball yesterday that Soto hit, he was so mad when he jumped up and missed it. You could see him biting his glove. He was so upset at himself. Then he comes in, not even a pitch later, and a line drive by Alonso, and he catches that one, I mean, it comes right at you once you miss it or so-called miss it. It was a tough ball that Soto hit. But you're absolutely right. He is one of the best in right field that the Giants can put out there.
Okay, well, listen, Bill, people need to be reasonable about Buster and the rebuild. This team has been down for a long time. They particularly were suffering from all the analytics crap of Zahidi.
Yeah.
And it's going to take time. We're 3 games over. If somebody had told me on the 26th of July that the Giants would be 3 games over, I'd say, good. I'm happy with that. That's
and still a shot in a wild card. You're not out of the wild card. It's going to be tough to catch the Dodgers. We know that. But you know what?
No, but they're right.
You know as well as I do. You get hot in this homestand when you got 3 against New York Mets, 3 against the Pirates. Then you go on the road and you play the same team twice. You play the Mets and the Pirates again. It's going to be tough to beat the Mets in New York. They play extremely well in New York. They're 37-16 at home. It's similar to Toronto Blue Jays, how they went up there and the Blue Jays played so well at home. It's going to be a tough road, but I just think, Greg, it's going to be tough for these starting pitchers, especially when you're down 2.
Well, here we go. Okay, now I wouldn't hang up without complaining about the terrible uniforms. Get rid of that goofy new hat. Get rid of the black tavern ball City League
Hall of
look.
Fame hat. That's the hat from the Hall of Fame. That's why they did that.
You've got the best-looking hat in the majors and one of the best-looking uniforms. Cream, black and orange piping, road grays. Oh, you can't improve on the best.
You are the uniform god. You love uniforms, Greg, and I think we both agree the All-Star finally put the old uniforms on, and I'll leave you with that on a positive point. All right, Greg, thanks for the call. It's always great catching up with you. Let's go to Andrea in Berkeley. Andrea, haven't heard from you in a while. You okay in Berkeley?
Yeah, just dealing with some dental work and taking it one day at a time, and a little Mercury retrograde mixed in. But
that sounds like a baseball line right there, Andrea. You take it daily, 1 game at a time, huh?
Yes, exactly right. Baseball and life, very much alike. And, speaking of which, good timing. Actually did a podcast today on Devers with, I think, sports radio service, and I mentioned KNBR in your show. And Devers is a work in progress. Here's the thing. I'm not clear if they think he's better at the plate if he's in the field, because he, obviously made some errors, and that glove was huge, and it looked like kind of a little comedy of errors.
He was uncomfortable with it looked like, didn't it, Andrea? This felt like uncomfortable. It wasn't broken in enough for him, and I think that's one of the hardest things as a new first baseman, to get used to a bigger glove. The couple times he snagged a couple nice plays on a double play from Chapman where he touched third and threw to first. A couple real nice snags where he went down and got it out of the dirt. And then a couple times when the ball was hit to him, he had a hard time fielding it. He kicked it a couple times. He made a nice play to go to second base on a double play. The ball found him today, Andrea, and I think that's why Bob Melvin just really kind of gloated, saying, hey, I was glad to see him get all those balls hit to him today.
Yeah, and, he's October 24, 1996, having his Saturn return at 29. It's endings and new beginnings, and he's with a new team, back in the field, and I like his Scorpio energy. And I remember when he hit his first home run, Bill, against the Red Sox. I thought that was really a little revenge there. So I don't know. I kind of root for him. I do.
Well, I think everybody is. We know how good of a hitter he is. I just think he wants to get comfortable wearing a new uniform, living in a new city, new teammates. But I think the clubhouse has really welcomed him and made him comfortable. Of course, the coaching staff has too. And it just takes time. That's all it is. He's still young. He's not even 30 years old. He's 28 years old. He's been in the league 9 years, and things just don't come quickly. We always see that. Look at Willie Adames, how he started, and now he's hitting the ball so well now, hitting over 340 in the last couple weeks, 2-3 weeks. And that's why I feel this team will gel here in the next couple weeks. And I think the month of August is going to show this team that they can compete and get a wild card chance.
Yes, well put. And plus, Devers, it's worth mentioning again, he had groin and back pain. So he's still kind of healing and recovering from that. So we got to kind of give him a break there.
Well, we'll just see where it goes. But I hate to say this, but Hayden Birdsong back in AAA, I know you are a big fan of his. He's getting his first start tomorrow in Sacramento. So I'm definitely I'm engaged to watch how he throws since the bad outing he had in Atlanta where he couldn't get anybody out, and he struggled throwing strikes. So I'm hoping that takes a little less stress off of him, and he tries to get back to that Hayden Birdsong that we watched last year, and again in the beginning of the year coming out of the bullpen.
Right. Thanks for telling me about that, because I remember last Monday when he just kind of had a Mercury retrograde meltdown. Virgos are ruled by Mercury. And Susan Slusser made a good comment. She goes, I think it's called the yips. And it seemed like Birdsong was having them. He just seemed very uncharacteristically ungrounded and confused.
It's true.
And he talked about,
it was uncharacteristic of any pitcher. I've never seen that before, Andrea. And I've watched a lot of baseball. I never saw a starting pitcher go out there and couldn't throw a strike. And a lot of pressure on the kid, a lot of different things on a 23-year-old mind that he just couldn't get engaged and focus.
Right, and he will, and I'm sure he's being hard on himself being a fellow Virgo. Yeah. But, the planets just didn't align for him. And, AAA, he's humble enough to go there and get better. And I'm glad you told me about his start. We'll put out some good energy for him.
Yeah, let's hope for the best. I think all Giants fans want to see hope for the best for this young man and not go down south and get worse and make it harder on himself. So let's hope he rebounds, and we'll see him in the second half of the year. But, Andrea, great talking to you. I hope you feel better.
You too, Bill.
And looking down the road, we'll talk more. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break on the Extra Inning postgame show. Carson Seymour, I talked to him yesterday. First time he was at Oracle Park, and we sit down and kind of get to know Carson Seymour. And now, Giants fans, you're going to hear too. So Bill Laskey and Carson Seymour coming up right here on the Extra Inning postgame show on KNBR, the sports leader, coming up next.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with former Giants right-hander Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR. Play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show with Bill Lassie. I'm excited to bring my guest on. He has Major League debut June 29th, 2025. He wears number 77, the big right-hander. Let's welcome in Carson Seymour. Carson, how are you today?
I'm doing well. First game day at Oracle Park for me, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh, you got to be excited putting on that Giants uniform. Tonight's Orange Friday, though. So you get to wear an orange jersey tonight.
For sure, yeah. I'm stoked. I wore orange shoes to the field today, so it worked out good.
Well, let's get back to where you grew up at Poway, California. You went to Great Oaks High School. Now, of course, you weren't 6'6" back then. Did you play other sports than baseball?
No, I did not. So I grew up in Temecula, California. So I was born in Poway, and then my family and I mean, I was probably like 6 months old. I think we moved to Temecula, and I grew up there. And no, I was like, I think freshman year, maybe like 5, 6, and then, but I played other sports growing up, but I never played any. Like I played soccer till I was 12, soccer and baseball, and then I tried football, and I didn't like it. I didn't like getting yelled at. I didn't really like tackling people and doing all that stuff. So I kind of gave up my football dreams and just focused kind of just playing baseball year round from 7th grade on.
Now, we were both pitchers. I was a pitcher in the big leagues as well as you are now. Were you a good hitter in high school? Did you try to get in the box and swing the bat?
Yeah, I mean, I tried for sure. Tried. I was a pretty good hitter growing up, and then I don't know. I mean, I just couldn't lay off the high heater, or I could always hit the breaking ball well, but the high heater always got me, and that was kind of the reason I started pitching was because I wasn't a very good hitter, and I always had a good arm from the infield, like third base or shortstop. So my dad's like, "Why don't you try pitching?" I'm like, "All right." So kind of started doing that, and then just took off from there.
That voice you hear on the Extra Inning Post Game Show, number 77, Carson Seymour. You went on to Dartmouth College in 2018. Academics was a huge part moving forward into college. Why'd you go to the Ivy School?
I mean, pretty much I was the only school, like Division I school that wanted me. I mean, there was a couple D3 schools I probably could have gone to in California, but Dartmouth was the only one that was like, yeah, we'll take you on. And I've always wanted to play Division I baseball, and then the education was obviously top notch. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really even think about Major League Baseball or getting drafted or any of that kind of going out of high school. I just wanted to keep playing. So went there, and then yeah, it kind of just all started to go up from there.
You sure did. In 2020, you transferred to Kansas State, and you were an all Big 12 academic first team pitcher. What were some of the classes you took? What was your major in when you went to college?
At Dartmouth, I never declared, but I think I was gonna go try and do psychology because I was gonna do political science, or it's called government at Dartmouth, but I don't know. I feel like that was a little out of my range, so I was gonna settle on psychology at Dartmouth. Then I went to K-State, and I was gonna do something. They had really like cool business building and cool business school, so I was gonna do something with that. And then I had to take accounting, and I didn't really like it that much. So then I eventually transferred into the poli-sci program at K-State, and that's what I was gonna major in. But I've yet to finish my degree, so
Yeah, it seems like
that's
we
on
all
hold.
do that, though, Carson. I went 3 years to college also, and that fourth year never follows up once you get the baseball uniform on. But something you did as well as I did, you went to Cape Cod. You played at Harwich. I ended up playing at Orleans. Just a great summer league. You got to play against some of the top talent. What'd you think of the Cape?
Oh, the Cape is awesome. I mean, that's like that's where, other than Team USA, that's like the top tier of all college baseball. Everyone comes in and plays, so it's a good, I guess, litmus test to see where your talent is at. Kind of, I guess, going into your junior year or your draft year and just seeing if you can compete or not. And it's super fun. The fans are into it. I mean, the towns basically shut down for the games, and it's awesome. So it's definitely a great experience.
Carson, one of the biggest things you play in Cape Cod, you play a lot of great players. You play against some of them, and the next thing you know, you're facing them in the minor leagues and now in the big leagues. What were some of the top players that you remember playing in that league when you were there?
I mean, from our team, we had Joe Boyle. We played catch pretty much every day that summer, and he's now at Tampa Bay, and he was throwing 100. He was legit. We had Nico Cavadas on our team, and he was a big thumper of a lefty, and he's with the Angels now. But I remember we were playing YD. I mean Yarmouth Dennis, or I think that's it, and they had Austin Wells, and he was at that time the best player I ever faced in my career, and he was legit. So that was definitely fun competition for sure.
Oh, it's just a fun league, and you get to meet so many people. And like you said, the Cape is always packed in the summer. Well, so now the Mets draft you. You get drafted in 2021, sixth round by the Mets. You end up signing at 22 years old. Excited about the Mets? Did you know much about their organization?
I mean, after my first year at Dartmouth, I went and played in the Hamptons League that summer. So like we would go to Mets games every once in a while. But I never, like, obviously being from the West Coast, I never really knew much about the Mets, but I mean it was exciting for sure. Like you know, big time city, big historical team. So like, you know, that definitely fires you up a little bit. And yeah, it was awesome.
So you sign with the Mets, and the next thing you know, August 2nd, 2022, they call you in the office and say, guess what, Carson? You just got traded to the San Francisco Giants. How big was your mouth wide open at that time? Because you were definitely probably stoked for one thing getting traded, but you were probably wondering, why in the hell did I get traded?
Yeah, I mean, I was having definitely a pretty good season compared to kind of my last college year at K-State, my first full season of pro ball. And like I actually texted my agent the day, like the last day of the trade deadline. I was like, "You think I'm getting traded?" He said, "Probably not." And so I was like, "All right." And we were doing PFPs at the time, and like you kind of saw like people in polos running around the field. We were in Brooklyn, so there's like people with the Mets, you know, like run around on the phone, all this stuff. So I'm like, oh man, something's gonna happen. I was telling all the guys like in the PFP line, oh, you're getting traded, you're out of here. And then they called Nick's walk into the office first. I was like, dang, he just got traded. And then our manager at the time pointed at me, and I, like kind of in my direction. I turned around and pointed at my chest, and he started shaking his head. Yeah, you're next. I went, oh no. And then yeah, and then they told me I got traded to the Giants, and I had about an hour to pack up all my stuff, and then we flew out to meet the Eugene Emeralds in Spokane, Washington. So we went coast to coast in the span of about.
Was it a shocker to you, Carson? Were you like wow, like a shocker kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you don't. I mean, when you get drafted, you're like, oh, you know, I'm gonna be like with this team for life or whatever, and then you and then you get traded, and you're like, dang, it really is like the people on the phone calls, like the important people, I guess, kind of know who you are. So like you're just kind of part of the machine of baseball. So it's definitely eye-opening that you start realizing that it's more than
Well,
just a
looking at it
game.
now, yeah, looking at it now, Carson, you definitely benefited. You went through Eugene, you went through Richmond, pitched really well. 2024, you were in AAA, 7-10, 4.8 earned run average. You still got in 29 games, 28 starts. Everything was formulating as a starting pitcher. Did you think about being a starter your whole career? Did it think about possibly being in a bullpen?
Yeah, well, so that first spring training with the Mets, they were like, "What do you what do you want to do?" I was like, "Well, I don't, I like, I because I kind of finished my career in college being a reliever, and I was like, I mean, I can relieve, you know, kind of looking at it like you kind of move a little faster through the system if you're a reliever and you do well." And they're like, "Nah, you're you're gonna start." I was like, "Okay, okay," and then just kind of found a routine that worked for me, and then just been starting ever since.
Now, Carson, I'm 6'5". You're 6'6". Being a tall pitcher, you got to be mobile. You have to be, very much ready for any ball hit to you. Being tall, we got to reach down a little farther down to catch those ground balls. Being mobile is one of the biggest things. How do you keep yourself so stretched and ready for fielding?
I think it just is, especially being a starter, you get there's a lot of time like until you play in the game. So, making sure the prep routine is good like throughout the week, not just the day of the game where you're like constantly staying mobile and moving your hips and just staying athletic, I think is the biggest thing because I think, pitching is one of the most explosive things you can do on like in athletics. So you got to stay explosive, but also stay athletic in general. So I think it's important to move your body into positions that you're might see on a field, but might not. But it might as well just practice them while you can.
Carson Seymour joining me for a few more minutes on the Extra Inning Post Game Show. So the day happens, you get called up, you go to Chicago, your family's there, your wife's there. Everything is moving pretty fast for you until you hit the mound. Tell me how fast that heartbeat was rolling when you threw that first pitch.
Honestly, I was pretty sick. Like I had like a fever,
Oh, man.
like so I was just kind of rolling with it. And it was a tight game. Kind of, I kind of knew that I was probably going to come in for bulk innings if I was going to get put in. And then I think it was a tight game for a while, and then we kind of like lost the lead. And then they're like, Seymour, you're in. And I was like, all right, let's go. So warming up for sure. I was just trying to make sure I was, warm enough to go out there and just pitch that inning. And it was great though. It was definitely surreal. Like you don't realize how big these stadiums are when you're watching them on TV, but it's like definitely that's like the biggest difference. They kind of just go straight to the sky, and you're like, wow, this is incredible.
Well, the smile coming off the face after you get in a jam, you get out of it, the high fives in the dugout, your family and your wife jumping up and down, a nice day that you'll never forget. But then you have a tough outing in Arizona. You get sent down. You end up pitching really well. You throw against Salt Lake City, 3 innings, 1 hit, and gave up a home run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. But now the second time gets called up. What did they say this time to you when you're going back up?
Well, honestly, I just it was an off day for us in the minor leagues. It was a Monday, and Mason Black and I are roommates in Sacramento, and we were just watching a movie. Like I was super locked in on this movie, and my phone was blowing up, so I missed a couple of calls, and then I had to call everybody back real quick and say, yeah, I can make this 10:15 flight. I can get there. It's no big deal. But basically, they just kind of told me, hey, if we need coverage on innings, you're gonna be the guy. So that's kind of just where I'm at with all that.
Well, you look more comfortable in Atlanta. The confidence was there. Plus, you were probably feeling a little better than from Chicago. You feature a couple different pitches. You feature the four seam fastball, the sinker, the slider. What is your go-to pitch when you have to get somebody out?
It's kind of count dependent, and obviously like lefty or righty, but I really love the sinker. That's one thing we kind of focused on a lot last year in AAA and a little bit this year too. Is just making sure I fill up the zone with the heater, and then just make sure I show that I can throw the breaking ball in the zone too, and then just kind of go from there. And but definitely the sinker. If I'm want to get out of a jam, I'm gonna go with my best pitch for sure.
Well, last one here for you, Carson. You're pitching at Oracle Park now, the home field for the San Francisco Giants. Now you get to play here. What do you like about Oracle Park?
I mean, what? There's really nothing not to like. I'm in the dugout right now, and it's so awesome. It's just so awesome. The stadium's great. The fans are great. Yesterday we were walking around a little bit. I had to get a jacket because I didn't pack for. Uh, I really didn't. When I packed up my stuff for the season, I didn't really bring any cold stuff, so
Right.
I had to go get a sweatshirt or something yesterday. So we were walking around and people were recognizing us, and I was like, "Dang, this is crazy." But so the fans are great, stadium's awesome, and yeah, I'm just excited to get out there.
Well, I want to thank you, Carson, for your time today. Good luck. All eyes are on you, and a lot of Giants fans will be listening to this, and you're going to have a whole heck of a lot of fan support at Oracle Park. But I appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thank you.
That was Carson Seymour on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the esports leader.
Once upon a time, there lived 3 energy hogs. Now, an energy hog is what you have when humans waste energy. One day, the 3 energy hogs set out to find themselves a cottage.
Let's look for leaky windows,
said the first energy hog, for he knew that would waste energy.
Let's look for leaky doors,
said the second.
Let's look for a swing set,
said the third, for he had more blubber than brains. So they set off down the road. Presently, they came upon a tiny cottage where dwelled a clever girl named Dreadylocks.
I hope it has leaky windows,
cried the first energy hog.
I hope it has leaky doors,
cried the second.
I hope it has a bathroom,
cried the third, for only his brains were smaller than his bladder. But Dreadylocks liked playing cool games at energyhog.org, and from energyhog.org she learned how to use energy wisely. So the 3 energy hogs were forced to look elsewhere to waste energy, and had to use the disgusting restroom at the gas station down the road. And the moral of the story is, to use energy wisely, log on to energyhog.org, or waste not, hog not.
This public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
A partnership born in 1979.
A 3-run homer for McCovey, and the Giants win in the bottom of the 13th inning.
We were there when the kids grew up.
27 years of waiting have come to an end. The Giants have won the pennant.
We were there when they moved into the best ballpark on earth.
That one is wet.
We were there for history.
Matt Cain is the first pitcher in the 128 years of the Giants franchise to pitch a perfect game.
We were there for a dynasty.
Swing and a miss, and that's it. Take straight 3 calls.
They have won the World Series for the 3rd time in 5 years.
And we're excited to announce an additional 4-year commitment to carry our partnership through our 50th year together in 2028. We are your proud home of San Francisco Giants baseball. KNBR, the sports leader. KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM, the sports leader.
All right, welcome back to the Extra Inning post-game show. Hope you enjoyed that Carson Seymour interview. Really a nice kid, and we'll get to see him tomorrow. As Matt Gage will start the game, it'll be a bullpen game. Carson Seymour, of course, as you just heard, he was drafted by the Mets, so he gets to pitch against them. Most likely tomorrow he'll get bulk innings, but a good kid, really promising, and looking forward to seeing more about Carson Seymour. Hey, tomorrow morning at 1 o'clock, I should say not morning, 1 p.m. tomorrow, I'll be doing a warm-up show again. Got some great guests tomorrow. Alex Pavlovich, of course, he works for NBC Bay Area, covers the Giants thoroughly. I'll have him tomorrow. And then Joe Youngblood, who a good friend of mine, played with the Giants, and he also played with the New York Mets when they won the 86 World Series. Chris Alvarez will also join me. He's a sports director over at Channel 7 Sports. He does a great job over there. And Noah Hines, we're going to look into the Pittsburgh Pirates as he works for the Pittsburgh Gazette, and we'll talk a little bit about the Pittsburgh Pirates series. That's all coming tomorrow on the Giants warm-up show right here at 1 o'clock with myself. I'll be hosting it for Kerry Crowley. And then tomorrow the Extra Inning post-game show will follow that. The game will be on ESPN tomorrow at 4:05. And I sat down with Trent Harris. He was on the Futures, went to the Futures game. Of course, he pitched really well in Richmond. Now he's in Sacramento, and we get to talk to him about his whole trip to Atlanta to pitch in the Futures game, how he felt, and all the nerves that were happening when he got called out on first baseline, all the cool things about it. And, of course, Carson Whisenhunt was with him. And most likely we might see Carson Whisenhunt pitch here on Monday. He was scratched from the start today in Sacramento, and we haven't made any they have not made any announcement yet. I am speculating. It is my opinion, so don't take it to print yet, but I think that's what we'll probably see on Monday. All right, coming up next, I sit down with a good friend of mine, Ed Lynch. We pitched against each other in the 80s. Of course, he was started with the New York Mets. He pitched with the Mets for 7 years. 1986 when they won the World Series, he pitched in that series. We talk a little bit about his time with the New York Mets, and then he came over to the Chicago Cubs. And then he became a general manager. He worked in the front office with the Mets for a few years, and then he was a general manager with the Chicago Cubs for a few years, and then he went on to pro scouting. 17 years he scouted a lot for different teams. The scouting director at times looking at different pitchers and how pitching has changed. And this is going to be real interesting for you to sit back and listen to on a Saturday night. So coming up next, Ed Lynch and I talk baseball, talk about his memories of being a New York Met, and a lot about pitching. That's coming up next right here on the Extra Inning Post Game Show on KNBR, the sports leader.
Bill is back.
Fired up, bringing it, all excited.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Post Game with Bill Laskey. I'm excited to bring my guest on. I've known him for many years. 8 years he pitched in Major League Baseball, 7 of them with the New York Mets, 2 years with the Cubs. He went on into the business side of the things. He is assistant general manager with the Mets. Then he became a general manager of the Chicago Cubs. After that, 16 years, he was a professional scout. Let's bring in Ed Lynch. Ed, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing good. Appreciate your time today. And we're talking New York Mets. You grew up in Brooklyn, New York. You ended up going to Miami. You ended up going to University of South Carolina. Tell me a little bit about that college days.
Yeah, well, I was recruited to play basketball at South Carolina, and their graduate assistant was a guy named Bobby Cremens, who later had some success at Georgia Tech, and he recruited me to go up there. And Frank McGuire was the head coach. Donnie Walsh, who later on became president of the Indiana Pacers, was the assistant coach, and I went up there to play basketball. Unfortunately, the guy who was a year ahead of me at my position was a guy named Alex English, who wound up being an NBA Hall of Famer. So, after my freshman year and going into my sophomore year, they recruited 6 more All-Americans, and I wasn't going to play. And our baseball team was really good. We wound up in my 4 years there losing the national championship game twice. So we were a very, very, very good team, and I knew I had a chance to play over there. So I asked. This is before Title IX was really enforced. It was in the early 70s, mid 70s. And Frank said, I like baseball. Go over and play baseball and keep your basketball scholarship. So I went over there and played and, moved out of one dorm into the baseball athletic dorm and, wound up pitching. Didn't pitch much my first 2, but I pitched a lot my last 2. So actually lost the game to Arizona State in Omaha, and they wound up winning the national championship. So it was a fun time, exciting time for me.
Well, Ed, you ended up getting drafted. You got drafted by the Texas Rangers. You ended up signing, going pro. You were only there for a few years, and the New York Mets grab you and bring you over in a trade. As a young pitcher, did you even understand what the trade meant? Did you know a new team wanted you?
Well, I explained this to young players, and I went through it. I remember I was sitting at living with my parents in the off season, and the phone rings, and it was Joe Klein, who was a minor league director. And this is September. I'd finished a AAA season, went home. Nobody got called up from AAA, by the way, not one player. And so I went home and getting ready to go to instructional league with the Rangers, and Joe Klein calls me and said, "Hey, Ed, we made a trade with the Mets." And I'm thinking to myself, well, why is he telling me this? And I said, oh, I'm in the trade. So, yeah, I was the player to be named later in Mike Jorgensen for Willie Montanez trade in September of '79. And then I wound up going instructional league with the Mets and went to big league spring training the next year. So it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And the thing I try to explain to young players, you know, you're with a team. A lot of guys, you know, say you sign out of high school, you're 18 years old, or you're a young Dominican, you sign when you're 16, and now you're 20, 21 years old, and it's like your family. You know, you're so used to everybody there, and you get traded, and a lot of guys say, well, they don't want me anymore. And I try to explain to them, listen, especially if it's a big deal, hey, that team that's acquiring you, you know, they acquired you for a reason. They want you, and they're going to try to make this trade look good. So they're going to give you every opportunity to succeed. You know, you're going to get more opportunity there than you probably would at your former club. So when I explained it that way, I think they understand. But it's a shock, Bill. You know, I mean, I think one of the things that's wrong nowadays, you know, you have, you know, so many of these GMs grew up, I don't know, playing Stratomatic or playing on a computer. You know, they don't really look at players, at people sometimes. And you know, they you know, I see it all the time. You know, the X team is willing to talk about trading Y player. I mean, that was tampering back in my day. I would never dream of saying something like that publicly. So, you know, times have changed, but you know, as you know, Bill, players are very sensitive about their careers. Their families are very sensitive. So you have to keep that in mind when you're dealing with players.
You're absolutely right, and you're absolutely right about the other thing too, about being traded. There's always a team that wants you more, and I think that's the thing that do you have to understand as a player being traded. Now you're going to another organization, you're going to have more eyes on you and more opportunities. But let's go back to when you were 25 and 26 years old. You did get an opportunity with the New York Mets. You ended up coming out of the bullpen in 81, 17 games. You ended up starting 13. It was the following year that I want to talk about. 43 games you were in, 12 as a starter. You finished 11. You had 2 saves. You were one of those Swiss Army knives that year.
Yeah, I was. And, you know, that was my value. I mean, I knew what my value was. I mean, obviously, I wanted to start every 5th day. That's the greatest job in America, if you ask me. You know, you pitch once every 5 days, you make as much money or more than guys that are out busting their ass, you know, 7 days a week. But, you know, you have to be realistic. And as we got better, you know, when I came up in 80, that was a bad club. And, you know, 81 wasn't much better. 82 was a little better. 83 was a little better. But we were still way down in the standings. And then in 84, all of a sudden, we got real good. You know, the thing that changed, you know, there's 3 ways to make your club better. You can do it through trades, through the drafts, or through signing free agents. Now, the Mets were extraordinary in the draft. You know, Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden, Lenny Dykstra, Wally Backman. You know, all these, you know, they traded for Jesse Orozco, but Roger McDowell, Doug Sisk. And in the trades, they did very well, too. You know, they acquired the big trade that changed everything was acquiring Keith Hernandez from the Cardinals on June 15th, 1983. Now, here's a club that won the World Series the previous year, and they trade an MVP caliber player to a last place team before even the halfway point of the following year. And I think it was a personality thing with Keith and Whitey, and I understood that, and I didn't care because we were so happy to get him. And the whole outlook, the whole mindset, the whole attitude changed. Not right away. He was still feeling his way, but certainly by spring training of 84, Keith signed a new contract with us. He knew he was going to be there. It was like, you know, losing was no longer accepted. You know, when you're on a bad club, you lose a close game. It's like, hey, you know, we tried hard. Hey, where are we eating tonight? You know, there's no more of that. You know, we lost the game. It was like a personal insult to your family. And, you know, and someone's going to pay in terms of the other team, or if you made a mental mistake that cost us a game, you're going to hear about it. And you're going to hear about it from other players, not the managers. So, I mean, everything changed. So they acquired Keith. They acquired Ron Darling and Walt Terrell. They turned Walt Terrell into Howard Johnson. We traded for Gary Carter. So, I mean, the Mets did a super job of trading and drafting. Free agent-wise, they weren't as lucky. George Foster was the big one. You faced him a lot. And he just, for whatever reason, it didn't have the support around him. The team wasn't ready to take off yet. It just didn't work out. But in trading and the draft, the Mets, they kicked some serious butt.
That voice you hear on Extra Inning post-game show, my good friend Ed Lynch. Of course, we faced each other many times with the Mets and the Cubs as opposing starting pitchers. But when you were with the Mets, you had a few different managers. You had Davey Johnson, Joe Torre, George Bamberger. Tell me a little bit about their different personalities as managers.
Well, Joe was hard, man. He wasn't like the lovable grandfather type that he was later on, 15 years later when he got the Yankee job and he inherited like a Hall of Fame caliber roster. I mean, we just were not a very good team. And he was a hard man. Managers were hard. You played for Frank Robinson, didn't you?
Yeah, I sure did.
Man, I mean, you talk about hard men, but that's what young players need sometimes. I loved it. You couldn't get me to take the game more seriously than I did already. And, and you were the same way. I mean, it was life or death. It was war out there. I didn't need a manager to kick me in the ass and tell me, you got to take this thing seriously. But Joe was hard. He was hard on young players. And, Bob Gibson was the pitching coach. You talk about a hard man.
That would be a difficult time to go in a room with Bob Gibson and talk pitching. I think you just listen to him more than anything. And those back days when you talk about a Frank Robinson or a Davey Johnson, they're trying to get the best out of you. They're going to try to enable you to get better at the game. I always talk about Frank Robinson going into his meetings, and he used to say, if you're not going to pitch inside, you will not pitch long in the big leagues. You cannot just stay in the outside corner. And it gave me a whole different thought pattern of here it is, Hall of Famer. He used to stand right on top of the plate, Ed, and you know this. And I learned how to throw inside, and I was in fear of it. And you had to have done the same.
Oh, no doubt. Bob Gibson, he was, he used to say things, he used to piss you off as a pitcher when you're in your windup and the guy calls timeout.
Yeah.
So one day the guy did it. Bob could see I was a little upset. He goes, hey, next time he does it, just keep going and drill him. I said, Bob, number one, this isn't 1968, and I'm not Bob Gibson. I'm going to get thrown out of the game. But he did teach me, because a lot of guys misunderstand pitching inside. They think it means, hitting the guy in the middle of the back. No, pitching inside is you have a fastball hitter in a 2-0 count, and you throw him a fastball about 4 inches in off the plate, belt high. I mean, they're going to swing at it, and you jam the hell out of them, and you get it out of it. I mean, that's pitching inside. And when you throw balls in off the plate, like you all say, hard in, soft away. But I did that for years, and throw your best fastball, which to me was below average, but it was hard enough to hurt if it hit. So I throw my hardest fastball, probably about neck high, about 4 inches inside. My command was good enough. And then that guy's aware in, and now I'm going to throw him a bunch of sliders away, right-handed hitters. I mean, and then left-handers, I throw them that cutter in off the plate hard, and then here comes a changeup, and the bad hitters swing at it and ground out, and the good ones just spit on it and say, hey, what do you got now, kid?
Well, Ed, you and I were both tall pitchers. And the defensive side, you had to be ready for the ground ball. You had to be ready to cover first base. In 8 years, you only had 4 errors in the big leagues. 4, that was it. How much did you work on that?
A lot, I mean, I was taught certain things, after you deliver the ball. I mean, I never threw a pitch with getting myself in position to field the ball as the final outcome of my delivery. Number one was to throw the pitch and throw a strike and throw where I want to throw it. But I got my glove up, and if there was a ball hit back up the middle, I got my glove right on the ground, and I put that glove right on the ground because it's easier to come up than to go down, So, and the other thing, I would anticipate. I don't know if you remember, at first and third, nobody out, of course, obviously, but Mike Aldretti is up, and I'm thinking, all right, they're going to, Roger Craig is always running on me. Every time I pitch, I didn't strike anybody out. I didn't walk anybody. I had a good slide step. So They didn't run to steal, but man, you guys hit and run all the time. Hit and run, hit and run, hit and run. So I'm facing Aldretti in the stretch, obviously. I throw a pitch. I hear, there he goes. So I know that guy's going to be on second base. And Aldretti hits a rocket right up the middle. I stick my glove up. I catch it. I know I got the guy at second. He's standing on second base. So I look to third, and it was Davey Lopes was playing third. I forget who the runner is. And I threw to third, bang, bang, force. And, of course, I threw the ball across the infield for a triple play. It was a Budweiser play of the day on ESPN.
Yes, you got to love those. Ed
But
Lynch joined me on the Extra post-game show. Let's jump ahead. Let's jump ahead to 16 years of scouting. And, of course, some of the great years when you were the general manager with the Chicago Cubs. Things have changed in the pitching world. We both know this. Analytics play a big part of it. But I think both of you and I are both understanding what happened to learning how to pitch. Why is it all velocity and not learning about secondary pitches or even change-ups or using different pitches in different counts? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I'll tell you what, the pitchers have a lot going against them right now, and I call it the 3 Bs are their biggest enemies: the balls, the bats, and the ballparks. Every ballpark is smaller than it wanted replaced. When's the last time they remodeled a park and made it bigger? So you got the ballparks, number one. The bats. You remember when you were in the dugout? I remember one time Keith Hernandez hit a double, and his bat was, bat boy came in and said, "Let me see that bat." And so I looked at the barrel, and you could see the indentation of the seams on the bat. You remember those days?
Sure, I do.
Those were ash bats.
Yes.
Ash was a very soft wood. Remember guys boning their bats to make the bat
all
harder?
the time. In the clubhouse, they did that all the time.
That's right. These bats now, Bill, I'm telling you, I did a podcast with David Chandler Bats. He's the guy that basically invented it. Well, he didn't invent it, but he brought the torpedo bat forward.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about the woods. Evidently, there was some sort of disease, virus, whatever, and it killed all the ash trees. I don't know if I'm buying that. And then they went to Canadian maple, and now they do Canadian maple. They glue the bats together. They put this finish on them. These things are like aluminum bats.
Wow.
And you could drive nails with those things and it wouldn't leave a dent in it, you know?
And we had to pitch against them. That was the big issue. And then what about all the ones when they used to cork the bats, when you catch them, when the bats were broken and cork and come out and little rubber balls would come out of it. And we'd be like, "You've been cheating like this for years and we didn't know it."
Yeah, and then they say something like, "Well, I just grabbed a bat out of the rack when I was hitting it and it turned out to be a pitcher's bat." Yeah, okay. Blame it on the pitchers. But the third thing, Bill, and this is the real problem, and this is the one that can be changed. I think if the commissioner, you're not going to change the ballparks. It costs too much money. Teams just don't want to do it. The bats, if you outlaw these Canadian maple bats, I don't know what you do. I mean, plus you'd wind up litigating for forever. The balls, you know, I got a dozen major league balls from a clubhouse when I was doing fantasy camp with the Mets, and I bought a dozen balls to get signed by some of the guys there. And these are balls that are used in play during the regular season. These frickin' balls, Billy, I'm telling you, they're like cue balls. There's no seams. They're hard as a rock. They're wound so tight. I mean, the players, a lot of the pitchers call the baseballs a Pro V1 ball, you know, which is the most popular golf ball on the PGA Tour, you know? So you got the balls, the bats, and the ballpark. So, I mean, I'm not going to blame the pitchers, all right? I'm not going to blame them for the way they're doing it because the reward system, it rewards. It's almost like you're going out there to win a series of statistical events: spin rate, velocity, depth of your sinker, you know, all the things they measure. You know, if you're a hitter, it's exit velocity, launch angle. It's like, you know, we were judged on with whether we got people out. Mm-hmm. Now you're judged on how you get them out. You know, if you don't strike people out, you know, you're pitching away from contact. Now, when we came up, it was work fast, pitch to contact, meaning make them put the ball in play. You know, let your defense work behind you, keep your pitch count down. Now, part of me, I could make this argument. I don't believe in it, but I can make the argument that pitching away from contact makes sense because if you look, anytime a guy barrels a ball up, even if it's to the opposite field gap, these balls are gone. I mean, they are out of the park. So they're teaching these guys, pitch away from contact. Now, how do you do that? You throw more breaking balls. And now within that subset, they want a breaking ball with your spin rate up. So I could see a kid going out and throwing a 3-hit shutout in the minor leagues and a guy coming in, well, your spin rate wasn't that high tonight. Oh, he pitched a 3-hitter,
Yeah.
So there's a lot working against the pitchers now. And if they stay on this track, like we were talking before airtime here, I looked at the DLs. There are 293 guys either on a DL or day-to-day, which I don't even know what means. The bottom line is there's more guys on the DL now than ever. And of those 293, I had 205 who have some reason why they can't perform, whether it's day-to-day in the minor leagues or it's Tommy John they're recovering from. So the injuries are just out of control.
As we finish up with Ed Lynch on the Extra Inning Postgame Show, Ed, baseball's changed. We've been talking about this in this conversation, but we also love the game. We always watch the game. What do you see in Major League Baseball going forward to make this game grow bigger and more fans love it?
Well, I tell you what, people ask me if I was a commissioner for a day, you know what I'd do? Like we talked about, I'd make the ball a lot less lively, I think I got to hand it to Rob Manfred that I call it the shot clock has really almost saved the game. The last year without the shot clock, Bill, and these games were becoming unwatchable. You had 3 hour and 25-minute 3-2 games. It was I couldn't even watch it. But now, you're doing 230, 240. That's the way the game is meant to play. So that has made a huge difference. But there's really everybody's swinging for everybody does everything at maximum effort. So I think if you deaden the ball and the first time a guy kind of hits one pretty good and it doesn't even get to the warning track, he's going to be like, wow, I better, level my swing out and put the ball in play rather than having an uppercut and trying to hit home runs and striking out 200 times, So I think if we deaden the ball, more balls in play will lead to a faster pace, more interesting game rather than walk, home run, strikeout, walk, strikeout, home run, that kind of thing. That's not much fun to watch.
Well, Ed, I appreciate your time. You were a fantastic baseball career, a fantastic business career being a GM and a scout for 16 years, and it's always great catching up with you.
Thanks, Billy. Good luck to you guys.
That was Ed Lynch on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 6.8, the sports leader.
All right, welcome back to the Extra Inning postgame show. As we close out a Saturday, Giants lose 2-1 to the New York Mets. 2-run, 7 hits, no errors for the Mets. 1-run, 9 hits, 2 errors for the Giants. The Giants are now 54-51. They'll do it again tomorrow to see if they can salvage one game out of this 3-game series. It's a 4:10 start, and it'll be covered by ESPN. Kodai Senga, a Japanese pitcher for the New York Mets, will be pitching. He's 7-3 with a 1.79 earned run average, and it'll be a bullpen game for the Giants. Matt Gage will get to start. Most likely we'll see Carson Seymour in this game. I want to thank my guests today, Carson Seymour and Ed Lynch. If you missed either one of those interviews, they'll be up on the All KNBR podcast. Tomorrow I'll be doing the warm-up show for Kerry Crowley once again at 1 p.m. You can start your day off as we get you prepared for that game at 4:10 against the Mets. Alex Pavlovich from NBC Bay Area, Joe Youngblood, another one from the New York Mets and the Giants, Chris Alvarez from Channel 7 Sports, and Noah Hines from the Pittsburgh Gazette will be my guest tomorrow for the warm-up show. I want to thank Cole Appelt. He's been producing a show. He's been with me for now almost 9 hours. He started at 3 p.m. with me on the warm-up show, and he's still producing the Extra Inning post-game show. Great job by Cole today, and a very, very long day for both of us. For Bill Laskey, be safe, be well. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.